Hello, everyone, and welcome to TFYLP episode number 321, recorded February 2nd. I said February this time, not January. Actually, it's March. Oh gosh, I even screwed it up again. It's March 2nd. It's March. I swear it's March. 2019. I'm your host, Ron Land, aka Weird Wolf. Along with me this evening is Lucas Bockelman.
Hey.
Headmaster Don.
Hello.
And Sean McGinnis.
Hoy hoy.
Hopefully everybody's doing all right tonight. How are you guys?
Tired.
Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah. Work is literally going in a circle nowadays, but that's the way to get the job done. So it's, like round and round and round. Oh, he fell.
He fell.
Other than that, other than being yelled at by Massey, the ever present and always effervescent Massey cat.
It's like, you must give me food now.
No, he wants his window open now, and the window is, as you know, right on the road.
Oh.
Yeah. So unless you want to hear the sound of basically TIE fighters screaming by 55 an hour, yeah.
When does he want that window open? Right, meow?
Right, meow, yes. Yeah, because cat. The answer is always cat.
Yes.
Yes.
And then here in Kansas City, we're waiting on our eighth snowstorm of the year. So we're supposed to get 5 inches overnight. So I'm excited.
Well, yeah, we've all heard that story before,
yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Here's the good thing. Then I'll give you just to go out and do what y'all passes for barbecue.
Wait, what?
Yeah, y'all can go out and have a nice, what you call barbecue outside to warm up. Since I'm from North Carolina and we have the best barbecue anyway.
Oh, mustard-based barbecue? Really?
Vinegar-based.
That was a vinegar?
Vinegar-based.
Those are fighting words right there. I don't know. I was talking to Christian. And he said the Kansas City barbecue is a lot better in North Carolina. So.
Duran, it's been a pleasure being part of TFYLP. You have yourself a good night. I am
It's not that bad.
You just haven't had Kansas City barbecue, Don.
That's right.
You just don't know.
We're actually supposed to be getting that same storm later on tonight and last through until 10 p.m. tomorrow, which will go into my work week, or work day, which will suck. But the weatherman, you know how weathermen are, they're right 20% of the time, says the ground around here is too warm, so most of it will melt before it starts accumulating, except in grassy areas, and it'll be over by 10 p.m. tomorrow night. So I'm hoping that's true. It's just because I don't want to deal with 6 inches of snow and dealing with moving truck trailers all night. That would suck. That would be
bad. I'm a little fuzzy this whole good bad thing, Ray.
I got that reference. Well, as usual, we are live on both Facebook and YouTube. So if you are following along with us on the video, feel free to comment on our Facebook comments or our YouTube comments. They will show up here live. I'm trying to make sure everything's going smurfily here. Let me post this to make sure it goes through. What? You didn't
go
like
for it, go for it, Papa Smurf.
Smurfily. You didn't like my adjective? Well, smurf you, mother smurfer.
Well, it is an LY, so wouldn't that make it actually never mind. I'm not getting into a grammar discussion tonight. I'm too tired. I am an unarmed man. Do not have a battle of wits with me.
Cut your arms off, and then you'll be a disarmed man.
Hey-o. And we're here all night, folks.
'Tis only a flesh wound.
'Tis but a scratch.
Yeah.
As much as I love British comedy, I never could get into Monty Python. It's just one of the weirdest things I know.
The Holy Grail was the only funny one.
Holy Grail is like one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
See, you asked me for one of the funniest movies of all time, and I'll tell you, Clue. Clue is one of the funniest of all time. It's got Tim Curry. It can't be bad by default.
I can't even recall Clue. I know it's a movie, but I don't know if I've seen it.
I think I've stunned Dura. I've used stunned. No. It's super effective.
No, I'm trying to share the video right now. So before we get started, I want to let Lucas give a special announcement about tomorrow night.
Yeah, so tomorrow night we have a special edition of the Microcasters at 9 o'clock Eastern. We are going to have an interview with Spencer Wilson from Moss Toys on. So he's going to come on. He's going to give us some updates with some of the various projects they have going and kind of let everyone know how everything's been going for him over the last couple months.
Awesome.
So the only thing is there's also some controversy around Spencer and some of his projects lately. So I'm kind of interested as to what he's going to say about along those lines, because as this show it'll be live on both Facebook. Well, it'll be live on Facebook since it's Microcasters, but it'll be live on Facebook, and people can comment live on the videos. And ask questions. So I'm sure somebody's going to ask or bring out the white elephant in the room, as it were.
Right.
I'm sure you made him aware that may or may not happen.
Yeah, no, I did, and I think that I know that he's addressed some of the drama and whatnot. So I mean, we probably. We don't want to necessarily focus on that for the majority of the interview, but we definitely do want to, kind of address, some housekeeping items and things like that. And I did tell him that it is a live show on Facebook, and there are viewer questions.
Gives him a live forum and everything. So,
right.
I wish I could be there to view it live, but again, as I said earlier, I will be at work, so I will have to view it on Monday morning. But best of luck in the interview. I hope it goes well. Now, will there be a normal Microcasters this Tuesday?
And there will also be a normal Microcasters as well, and so that'll be Tuesday at 10 o'clock Eastern, which is our regular time slot. So we didn't want to take away from, because our show's mainly about doing a live toy review. And kind of just, chatting that up. And so we didn't want to take away from that with our additional interview as well. So, so we are going to have that as well on Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, the main focus of Microcasters is reviewing toys, specific toys and everything. But occasionally, if there's like a hot topic or a special interview like this one, that's also a forum for Microcasters. That doesn't mean that we won't ever have any special guests on TFYLP anymore or special interview episodes. It's just that Microcasters will be doing some of those as well. So check out Microcasters again, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on our Facebook page. Go to the tftalk.net Facebook page, like and follow it, and make sure you get notifications that the video when we go live with videos, because we do it several times a week now. So I actually went live with a video here the other day, an unboxing. I got in this really awesome guy from ages 3 and up, and it's the my brain went. I had a brain fart right now. Again, tired. It's the Magic Square Light of Freedom. It's the animation accurate, or close to animation accurate, Masterpiece Scale Optimus Prime. I got it mainly for the price. I mean, it looks really good for the price, and I'm trying to see if there's an alternative to paying the 300 plus for MP44. I'm not saying I won't spring for MP44, but I'm wanting to see if I can avoid doing that if at all possible and still be happy with what I got. Because right now, as much as I love the look of MP44, the price is the biggest turnoff for me. So
yeah, and I've got some reservation. I've actually dropped my pre-order at Amazon Japan for MP44 just because there's several reasons, but basically I just didn't see the need. I wasn't seeing the cost versus need ratio there.
But for my full thoughts, not this Tuesday, but a week from this Tuesday, I'll actually be hosting Microcasters because Lucas will be out of town. So I'll be hosting Microcasters, and a week from this Tuesday, the Magic Square Light of Freedom will be our review. I will have mine. Anna is getting one in, and Dawn should, knock on wood, hopefully have his in.
Yeah. So. Mine is coming in e-packet, but it could be here by then. If not, it'll be. But basically, I got it for 110 shipped free. So.
Well, I had some credit and everything, so that's basically what I gave for mine. So
yeah. So I'm paying for it with the slow shipping, but it was cheaper than the 140 everyone else was asking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I want to, tune in, even though I'll be out of town, just to kind of see what you guys think about it, because I've been very, kind of tempted by, by that figure. It looks really good, and it looks like a good kind of evolution from MP10.
I don't want to spoil too much for the Microcasters episode, but I will say my overall feeling for it is very positive. I like it very, very much. Matter of fact, so far, I mean, just looking at it, its presence, and to use a favorite reviewer's words, his presence is just awe-inspiring to me. I love. He's probably one of my favorite third-party figures so far, and that'll actually go into our main topic of discussion later on in this episode. We'll be talking about our favorite third-party figures. So we'll go into more depth about that. And we're also going to talk a little bit about something we haven't talked about before on here. Some of our favorite reviewers, or favorite YouTube reviewers. I know I have mine. Maybe you have yours. We'd love to hear from you. Again, comments on the YouTube or Facebook Live. They should show up. Hopefully they'll be working whenever they do that. Go ahead.
One thing real quick. I do want to mention the reason that I'm going out of town is because I'm going to be going to TFCon LA. So I will be posting content on the TF Talk page, for the show. So definitely, like and like the Facebook page and follow it throughout the show, so that I'll be posting pictures of all the third-party figures from the show, for the slideshow as well, that they typically do as well. So if you want to kind of see that, and if anyone has any requests as well for, more pictures or whatever it may be, definitely, make posts up there and all that, and I can try and get as many pictures as I can for people.
Who knows? Maybe you might get a impromptu interview with a guest or something. Because there's going to be a lot of them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should just live stream your whole experience and have a camera like right here.
And
so everybody that can't go can go with you.
Yeah, and that thing called data cap, don't worry about it. It's just a suggestion.
He'll forget to turn it off and then go to the bathroom.
Well, they won't see anything. It'll be okay.
I'm sure the Wi-Fi and the data will be fantastic from the show floor, right? It always is.
You don't have unlimited data, Lucas?
No.
I do. Well, that's from my last job. I had unlimited data. I used upwards of almost 30 gigs a month at my old job. But now at my new job, I'm almost rarely on my phone, and I think my last bill I used maybe a gig. But I'm keeping my unlimited data because you never know when you might need it. So and everything. So do tell, Sean. You want to tell the viewers what you are doing right now, making so much racket.
I'm sorry. We've been yelled at this. Yeah, we've been talked to about this before. No racket, guys. No, I am in the process of bagging up my collection and storing it away. We'll be moving out of state hopefully soon. So yeah, it's a regular war zone in here.
Never fun to pack up the toys and
Yep.
and everything. I mean, it is fun, but at the same time, it's not.
No, it's not fun. It's overwhelming. It makes you just want to sell it all. Sometimes it's like I've been at this for weeks. It's crazy.
Oh, before I moved in here, I mean, I probably went 2 weeks on just what I had. I'd take like a DTOF a night. After I got home from work, I'd go in there, and like I said before we went on air. I've moved so many times. I used to just put them back in the boxes that I still had, and some of them, depending on the figure, if it's like a really delicate figure, I would actually do that still. But most of them, I would just like take all their weapons off because I remember what they go to, put them in a big Ziploc bag, and then I layered bubble wrap, the big thick bubble wrap. I'd layer it in boxes, and I just lay them down in layers in the bubble wrap until it got to where I'm like, okay, that's plenty heavy enough. I don't want it to crush what's on the bottom. And then I did it that way. Of course, I was only moving across town. You're moving from, many states over. So I'm sure a little bit more care will be necessary.
Yeah. I put a layer of bubble wrap on the bottom, and then everything went on top. But it was Combiner Wars, and they're all in vehicle mode. So I mean, I could put an elephant on top of them, and they'd be okay. But yeah, about the boxes, I threw away all my boxes. The only boxes I have now is Masterpiece, and that's only the Takara ones. The U.S. ones got thrown away. They got tossed. I got one of those great big green trash bags full of Takara LG boxes. It's crazy. So yeah, no more boxes.
I only keep my my foreign boxes, and I've got a couple like domestic boxes. Like I've still got my Titan class boxes, but most of the boxes that I have are all foreign. They're the Masterpiece or any of my third party. Of course, Zeta toys. And if you get any Zeta toys, you got to keep those because if there's anything wrong with your toy, there's a code that's on the box that apparently if you have a problem, because I've got a thruster issue with my blast off, and I had to use the code off of the box. I had to go dig it out of storage, find that damn code, and take a picture of it, and then send it on so it can be forwarded on to Zeta to make sure, because they got to make sure that you got it from where you say you got it from. I don't know why.
Wow. Yeah. No, all my third-party boxes are in the trash too. So I won't be buying Zeta toys, I guess.
But I'm not saying that as a deterrent, but I'm just saying,
No.
My wife gets really mad at me because I have a room full of boxes from all my third party and whatnot, and then I have another room that's full of shipping supplies because I'm constantly buying and selling, and so I just have bubble wrap all over the place, and yeah.
Well, that's helpful because I got a garage full of shipping supplies, so we have not had to go out and get boxes for moving at all. It's pretty sick, actually. Yeah, it's no way to live.
So before we get into those things, the main topic of discussion, which is our favorite third-party figures to date, I want to talk about something that, like I said, we haven't talked about here on the show at great length. I know we've mentioned a few from time to time, but who are our favorite video reviewers on YouTube?
Momo.
No, please God, no.
We had to start it out just with that.
If that dates this podcast episode, I don't know what will, because that's gonna be so early 2019, later this year.
Yeah,
I'm already done with it, and it's
you're so 2000 and late.
That's like the Gangnam Style of.
That guy made some money though. I think it was the number one video on YouTube.
Yeah, but for all for the wrong reasons. And Nightwing stole my thunder. He stole my favorite reviewer. We actually had him on this show back on our big broadcast of 2018, our holiday episode last year. Bobby Skullface is my favorite. The reason why is I like the way he presents stuff. It's kind of a no BS, but he doesn't take himself too seriously, but he's still funny. And I mean, and I'm saying this about a guy who literally pulls a skull sock over his head, but I mean, it's still funny. It just adds to the entertainment value. I don't know how many times I've been watching like his sit down Saturdays, and my girlfriend walked by and she's like, "Why is that guy wearing a sock over his head?" But I said that's just his shtick, hon. It's like. But yeah, I love the way he reviews toys. He's very thorough about it. And if he misses a step, he mentions it. Oops, I missed something. He doesn't sit there and ignore it or something. And I also like his other content that he has, like the Sit Down Saturdays and the For Dummies stuff. It's really, really great stuff. Big fan of Bobby Skullface.
Yeah, it is nice to have that other content, other than just here's the toy. That's what I think about it. It's things that make you think. So I do like that.
The thing that I'll mention too about him is he pulls no punches about, if he doesn't like a figure, you definitely will know it. I think that a lot of times, like, that he likes paint and sculpt, and that's kind of, that's his preference. But, he'll tell you if the toys are good and whatnot. And he
even if it's from a seller that's trying to sell the toy, he won't sit there and sugarcoat it. If he doesn't like it, he'll say it.
Right. Yeah, and so I think that is, and then also he usually is pretty rough with his transformation, so that if it makes it through a couple of his transformations, that it'll probably be good. Because there are certain figures. I think that ultimately that's what we all want to know is this $100 figure gonna break?
Mm-hmm. And so hooks like mine, it's like
right. So. Yeah, and I was gonna say, as far as for mine, I really like the reviewers that seem more like an average collector kind of person. So I know like John Garinger doesn't do as many reviews as what he used to, but he's one that didn't pull any punches. And then the guys like the Nerd Out guys and certain ones like that, where they're just a couple dudes talking about a figure. And so I think that, that's what I know with the microcasters, that we try to emulate that, a little bit as well. So, and then I would say also for me too, I'm at this point, I'm looking for entertainment value, and so, a lot of, again, like Bobby Skullface with some of his skits and all that, I think is good. Or like Few is another good one too.
Yeah, I literally just found Few a couple of months ago. I don't know how he ran under my radar for so long, but I really enjoyed watching a lot of his reviews. And it just occurred to me today, and I posted this on Twitter, I finally realized who Few reminds me of. He reminds me of Yahtzee from Zero Punctuation, who's a big video game reviewer. The same kind of high energy, the same kind of of delivery. And while I'm not a huge gamer, I like watching the reviews for the entertainment value. But Thew is I love the way he does it, and I like Bobby Skullface too. I'm going to preface that I do love diecast reviews on RFC. Diecast, I've known him for several years, and I like diecast because when he gets a toy that he's really been waiting for, that energy kind of shows when he does his review. So it's like you can tell when, a lot of reviewers I've watched, it's just kind of this, here's the toy. There's no, and which I can understand. They're trying to keep it, no bias, no nothing. Just here's the toy and here's what it does. But with diecast, when that energy comes through, you can tell when he really is enjoying something. And that says a lot about his style. And that's one thing I like a lot about that. But like I said, I like Thew. I like Bobby. I like Bobby because he's basically, look. And I like what he says. This is subjective. This is objective. This is going to be up to your interpretation. This is what objectively is an issue that I'm seeing. I
like this part, but I know that some people will disagree. And I think a good example is his recent review of the Fans Toys Hoodlum, their hot rod, and he compared it to the actual Masterpiece hot rod, and he's like, it's all subjective. Some people hate the chest on one and love the other, and it's all subjective. Me personally, I'm perfectly fine with the Masterpiece hot rod chest. I understand it's not perfect, but I can't look at a single toy in my collection and say that toy is perfect in every way.
Yeah, there's. And it may be perfect to you, but it's not going to be perfect to somebody else.
Right.
And that's one thing. That's one thing about the fandom is that we all have to remember everybody has different tastes. Just because someone likes something you don't doesn't make it bad. And that's one thing I like about Bobby is saying, look, here's all the information you need to know to make an informed decision. But don't, it's just basically here's what you need to know. And I like that because he lays it out like, this is my thought, this is my opinion. Because people that just want plain facts on a toy review makes for a very boring review.
The Studio Series Bumblebee, I can't remember who it was. Was it Emco?
Balt Matrix?
Was it Balt Matrix? Literally got fed up with it and threw the toy and said, "This thing is junk."
I thought it was the Cyberverse Bumblebee. He did that too. Maybe I was wrong.
I thought it was.
I think
maybe it was a
Series.
Cyberverse one.
Okay.
I thought it was Studio Series.
But yeah, he actually caught a fair amount of flack with that, because there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, you need to be more professional than that." Or whatever. No,
if you hate the toy, you hate the toy.
Come on, man.
Well, I'll be honest, okay? Diecast took Chronos
and burned it
and set it on fire in a barbecue pit and filmed it burning.
That wasn't just the box. I thought that was just the box for.
No, that was the box.
It was a figure.
It was the Chronos figure that he bought the same time I bought mine, and he set it on fire and melted it. It does not. Yeah.
I gotta find this. I gotta find this.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of it.
It's RFC review.
Yeah.
But now, I like Thew. I like Bobby Skullface. I like MGO. I really like MGO's reviews. They're funny. They're informative. I love his skits at the end. And y'all were talking about it's also not just a review, it's entertaining. One of the best, and again, I'm not putting down MGO. This is not a slight, but for entertainment value, Vangelis does some really great entertaining. Mm-hmm. When he was doing the Combiner Wars stuff, and he was doing the skits and the voices, like when the Combiner Wars Devastator come out, and he was doing the voice of Alpha Bravo, and then the aerial bots show up. And then he does, all the sound effects when you've got them combining and everything. Vangelis does really great entertaining reviews. Now, he doesn't show you a whole lot of the fine detail while you're transforming. Not in every case. But I think if you just want a good general look, that does you fine. But if you want someone that goes into detail, there is a Japanese language viewer on YouTube called Wotafa. He is an absolutely brilliant reviewer because it's pure Japanese. There is no English unless it's something that doesn't really translate. Like Cybertron. You know how that goes. But he shows you every connector point, every pin, every hook, every motion. So even though if you can't understand a word he's saying, you can transform anything that he has in front of him perfectly because he will show you every single step of the way. And he is an absolutely phenomenally clear and concise reviewer as far as showing you how the figure works, which I think is really beneficial.
I'm going to share this, and you can tell Diecast that this got shared on TFYLP. I'm going to screen share Kronos being burned. This is epic, epic, epic.
So yeah,
Jerron, you should also check out Bobby Skullface did a fantastic video for the TFC Hound figure.
Oh my God!
That was Detective.
Oh,
that was.
Hated that figure.
It was hilarious. I think he broke it in the middle of transforming it, and then just kept going, like where he was like, I think he ran it over with his car. And,
took a hammer to it, I think.
Yeah. So that was a funny one too.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. I was sitting there, you guys were talking over it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's fine though. He was literally sitting there. I mean, this thing was just flaming up. He just kept dousing.
Because see, I still
epic.
See, I still have my Kronos, and I've never said it's a good toy. Kronos out of the package was never a good toy, but in robot mode, it was a very good looking Skyfire to me for my collection. Yes, I am getting the Phoenix reissue whenever it comes out, but I'll be honest, I would like a good toy I can transform from time to time. Kronos is not that figure. But am I setting mine on fire? No.
Admit it, Don, that was your copy that he set on fire.
No. I can go get mine right now if I had to prove it, but no, the one thing I like about when I'm watching a reviewer is that it has to be in frame. Some reviewers, again, everybody gets better with time, but if you're shooting it and it goes half outside the frame and you're tempted to move your screen trying to look outside the frame, see what's going on. Even though I'm
guilty of this because I've been doing trying my hand at some transformation videos, and some of them here on our YouTube channel. But it's really hard, especially if you got a big figure, to keep it all in frame.
And if you're working around your camera.
Right. Yeah. It's really, really difficult.
So I try not to hold that against anybody because I know what happens. But some people, even a lot of videos into their filmography, it's just like the joint you're moving is up off screen, and it's like, it's little things like that I try to work around if I can. But if I'm using these for video instructions, because let's face it, there just ain't no good instructions, official or third party, and we cannot
most of the time. I'd say 80 to 90% of the time, I'll pull up a video reviewer's review of the toy, and I'll sit there and watch them go step by step and transform the toy that way, because most of the instructions are just useless anymore.
Yeah, and you would think by now into the life cycle of this third party business, they would be, unless they know that there's going to be people doing the video reviews, so they're really not putting as much effort into the instructions and wasting money that they know someone else will do it. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I can't tell you the last time I used a third-party instruction to actually transform a figure.
Yeah, a lot of third parties started doing their own instruction manuals on via video. Like I know MMC does that, and I think Boss Toys did that as well.
Yeah, didn't they have like a QR code on their boxes that took you to the video or something?
Yep. Diecast burns money anyway, right?
Do what?
Make toys.
Oh, in the comments, somebody said Diecast burns money anyway.
Hey, I think he is the official reason that basically Taobao is just he gets a bit of stuff. Yes, he does.
I wonder if the guy who designed Kronos actually watched that video.
He doesn't care. He got his money.
right, exactly.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've heard some stories and I've seen some stories on that guy. So
yeah. But anyway, now I will say one thing about all video reviewers. Now this is just not just the ones I've mentioned in general. A lot of them will take it from the vehicle or alternate mode to robot mode, which, yes, is a big dynamic ta-da reveal. I get that. But if the figure is packed in robot mode, that really doesn't help me. There are several reviewers that will do it both ways. Optobotomus is one that usually will do it both ways, robot to vehicle and vehicle to robot, which I appreciate, because sometimes even if you watch a regular video, like if you try stepping it back, like a couple of frames at a time to follow the motions, it doesn't quite work as easy because you can't quite tell what's moving where. And that's one thing that he does is he does both. Usually he does both modes, one to the other and back, which is real helpful. Which I've thanked him for on Twitter before, because sometimes you really need those instructions the way it's packaged to other mode and not just alt to robot, because it's hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah, as they had mentioned in the comments, Peg for Life also, he's a good, pretty good reviewer, and he will transform it both ways, typically in his videos.
Yeah, because there's figures like I'm going to bring this up, but when Intimidator came out, and Duron shaking his head because he had the same figure when the Fans Project Stunticons came out. It took MGO and P-Alls both their videos and 3.5 hours to get him from truck to robot to torso. Now, I'll be 49 this year. I've transformed a few figures in my collective life since I started in 1984. I have never. I thought Tripredicus was bad. Tripredicus is nothing compared to Intimidator. And it took me 3.5 hours and 2 other videos and the god-awful instructions. I have never touched them.
Whoever designed that for Fans Project, whoever owns Fan Project needs to go up to the designer and go, no. I
mean,
bad designer. Bad.
That literally
ruined
that set. That literally ruined that set for me. I have not touched that set since.
I sold it within a couple of months.
Yeah, I probably should have done that too.
But you know what? If it was a good Transformer, you really wouldn't need instructions. You'd be able to find your way through.
Well, see, that's just it, though. Again, this is me being, I'm the old guy on the block because I've been doing this the longest. But opening up the box when I was young, my very first Transformer was Sludge. I got him in a flea market. I was 14 years old. It was a day for my birthday. Mom got him for me. I wanted Grimlock. Everybody wanted Grimlock. The seller did not have. He had a whole table full of Transformers. Just the entire, basically the first 2 waves with Dinobots and everything else. And I got Sludge because I've always liked brontosauruses, which are real dinosaurs again. And opening up the box, opening up the instruction manual, and seeing that the old-fashioned instruction manuals that you could follow, to me, that's part of the nostalgia of opening up a new figure and reading it and looking at it and watching it, watching this puzzle unfold as you do it. That's why when it came to Six Shot, when I got my Six Shot was at a Brindle's, which was a catalog showroom, which most of y'all will be too young to remember. I got them $20 on clearance. The whole do it without opening the instructions, open them up and did them, because that's part of the charm for me, is watching this thing unfold as you're reading the instructions. I can't do that nowadays. The instructions are just so much dreck.
Well, when you got it grayscale on black, it's like...
Yeah,
and it's like shrunk down to where it's like super tiny.
Well, have you noticed that Hasbro seems to go, and I know we're getting a little off tangent, but it does relate, when they were doing Beast Hunters and these huge, gigantic poster instructions that were this huge, like, I need a sheet to sleep on. Here, have Predaking's instruction manual. But you can follow them.
But you could follow them, but the illustrations looked like they were done by somebody in a magic marker, or with a magic marker going, here, let me sketch this out for you real quick.
Yeah. And here's the strangest thing, and Duran, you'll recognize me saying this. The Beast Machine instructions, when it was the prototype figures with the highlighted white parts, was some of the best instructions we ever had as far as following what was going on.
Well, if you recall, early G1 instructions were colored photographs.
Yeah. I've got several of those. That was based.
I remember my G1 Jazz, and I believe the Blue Streak also. I got from whenever I was a kid, had colored instruction booklets, and they were photographs.
Yeah, and I wish we would go back to that. But packaging and all that, printing costs have gone up so much that having those kind of instruction manuals would probably add another $5 to the price of the figure that you couldn't cut somewhere else. I don't know, but that I think that's what we're seeing all these reviewers, because it's just so difficult to follow these instructions anymore. And I thank goodness that these reviewers out there are willing to tackle some of these figures. It's like, one of my I'll bring this up later on. One of my favorite figures is a early Fans Project figure. Without a video
let's
review,
go ahead and segue into that topic, Don. What are some of your favorite third-party toys? And go ahead and...
Okay, all right. I've mentioned this before, Carrie. Carrie is one of my favorite third-party toys because it is a great...
and she's also one of our favorite viewers, too.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, that's true.
Shout out, Carrie.
I hope you love that Beast Machine's Cheetor. I signed it. I had to touch that box. It's like I had to burn this hand. I have no hand anymore.
It was like battery acid on your
It's like it burns us. But Carrie, I love Carrie. I think it's a great looking representation of Rodimus Prime in robot and vehicle mode. Yes, the scale's a little wonky because it fits better with Chug than Masterpiece. But if you've got a nice unused brick of C90 cassettes still wrapped up that you can set them on top of in the middle of the display, you can't tell. And he looks fine. Another one of probably my favorite third party. I haven't transformed it in forever because, again, it's early Fans Project. It's Cyclops, Hearts of Steel Shockwave. That I wanted that thing for. I remember when we were at BotCon. Picture it, BotCon, and
1939.
1939.
It's Hearts of Steel. Isn't that MMC?
I'm sorry. You're right. It is Mastermind. I'm sorry. I was still thinking Intimidator. I'm sorry. It is Mastermind. I'm sorry. Early Mastermind. They were talking about what do you want to see after the Hearts of Optimus Prime, and I put down I want to see that Shockwave. He said that would probably be very expensive. I said I don't really care because it's not because it's Shockwave per se, but Shockwave as a dual paddle wheel Southern ironclad. hits so many of my buttons. It is absolutely impossible to recreate because I love Civil War naval history. He's an ironclad, and it pulls off the Shockwave look with the smokestack becoming the cannon. I mean, that's just such an incredible looking figure. Which, if they reissue that today, I would hate to even see how much it would cost nowadays. With that.
Well, and at the time too, that was pretty much their biggest project, right?
Yeah, it was one of the biggest. It was one of the biggest figures that came out.
That made that?
Mastermind.
Was it Mastermind?
Here, I'll go get him. I'll show them, just in case people don't remember which one that is. I'll go get them. But I've got others, but that's the two I'll stick with for now.
Okay. Sean, what about you?
Well, my first third-party figure was Make Toys Green Giant. I believe that was my first one, and that I see what you did. No, that was really good. It looked really cool. I didn't really like the robot modes so much, but I mean, something had to be sacrificed. But yeah, that was one of my favorite ones.
No sacrifice, no victory.
That's right. You can spell it both ways and it still works. What was it? Steel Core. I just got that from Lucas here recently, and it's like my third time owning that figure. But yeah, it's that's probably one of the top third-party figures I'd say to date, and it's not even a actual Transformers official character. You know, it's something they made up.
Yeah, basically, it's their Universe's Ultra Magnus is the way that I've always seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
The construction version is really cool. There he is.
Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
God, that thing's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah,
I can't believe that actually got made. And what
was the retail on that back then?
$230. See, this is before Dononomics. I was able to get Dononomics up and running completely. So this was a lot of overtime at work, but I think it was about $230 from BBTS, I believe, at the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what about Quakewave? He's excellent to today's standards.
I never had a Quakewave because
actually Quakewave.
This is my Shockwave.
Quakewave is arguably superior to the official Shockwave in many ways.
Yep, I've had both, and I believe he is the calves in particular on the Masterpiece, the official. The calves just weren't holding together on my copy, and it was just kind of a floppy mess. So, yeah.
Well, and I think just the finish of that figure compared to the Masterpiece, that was a lot nicer.
Yep, yeah, the finish, the weight. It was actually, he had some die cast in there, and it's an excellent figure. You got light up eye. It was light up eye, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
And the cool thing was you can get a Shockwave version too if you wanted the the old Radio Shack colors as well, which is something that we will probably never get for an official Shockwave.
Yeah.
I've actually owned that toy twice, and I sold it right before I got the official one, and part of me regrets it, but part of me doesn't. It's like I'm happy with the official Masterpiece Shockwave. I like it.
Yeah.
But is it superior to Quakewave? I don't think it is. I really don't. I think it's one where the third party absolutely crushed the official.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that annoys me
came out a couple years prior.
The thing that annoys me too is that the color that I at least associate with him is, it was the proper color on Fans Toys, but it wasn't for the Masterpiece. If I want the right color, I have to spend like $200.
Well, do you like how Takara came out with the Quakewave colors?
That's what I'm saying.
Later?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That was great.
They made it an exclusive, and it's like $200. So
yeah,
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we probably didn't have a show, Duran, on all these pluses, and
the pluses and the minuses.
There's your title right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna toss out two more real quick, just because I probably one of my favorite figures. I have not transformed him fully because just for various reasons, but one of my favorite third party figures is going to be Utopia.
I have never transformed that toy. I've held it, but
yeah, but I've owned it for several years and not transformed it just for lack of time and focus. But visually, I was so much more happier with him than I ever would have been with. I did not want Generations Metroplex. I never wanted I never wanted the Metroplex figure. If I could have found him at Ollie's for $40, yeah, I probably would have bought him for that. But Generations Metroplex was nothing but a hunk of white plastic with no detailing and did not invoke Metroplex to me. Utopia is one of the best looking figures I've got in my collection. Just visually, not just from size, but from just looking like the character he's supposed to look like.
The transformation actually isn't too bad on him. It's really, I mean, outside of the fact that he's really big, that's a challenge, but like getting him from each mode to the next is not bad. And Pake for Life has a really good video if you need help with transforming him.
Yeah, I might have to do that. And the only other two I'll bring up are they have been surpassed. Carrie surpassed one of them, and the other one's been surpassed by several Ultra Magnuses. City Commander and Protector, the armor kits. Those are still two of my favorite and I think most important third-party figures and pieces. I have every version of the Protector armor, and I have almost every version of the City Commander armor except for the ones that they did that were limited exclusives for like the Shatterglass and the Shatterglass Ultra Magnus and Shatterglass Prime. But I think those two are two of the most important figures in the third-party history.
Yeah, it's really too bad that Fans Project kind of, is no longer what they were, because, I mean, they were definitely, one of the kings back in the day, and they put out some great figures. Like, I know, this guy right here, which is their, whatchamacallit? Smart Robin, yeah. Mm-hmm. The transformation on Smart Robin is really, really interesting. And then also their, thanks, this guy's name again.
Code,
yeah. The transformation on Code's great too. I mean, especially for the time, it's, it was very, very interesting. I don't think that some of their later figures, Headmasters, weren't quite as good, but these are two of the best.
Yep. Yeah, the Werewolf is really cool, the way his legs folded up.
Quadruple U.
Yeah, and then everything after that was kind of lackluster, especially Browning. The eyebrow.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, and XV brought this up a long time ago, Code and Smart Robin are going to be remembered more for the engineering tricks than actually being the representation of the characters that they are. And I think that's kind of sad. But I think at that time they were really great for what they were, and I think the engineering at least led to other things on down the road.
Yeah, sure.
Lucas, and what about your favorites?
So for me, I really dig a good transformation. So Carrie, I think, was definitely one for me. Another one that I keep buying because I love the transformation. He might be my favorite Megatron as far as transforming is the Make Toys version of him. He doesn't really look like Megatron. Despotron, yeah. He doesn't really look like Megatron, but as far as like with the face and whatnot. But the MP36 is definitely more accurate to the cartoon, but this guy is a really neat figure, is very clean, and he has a really fun transformation for the fact that he has to turn into a gun. And then I also mentioned, with Utopia is Pandanus is a fantastic figure. I think that it looks. It was Make Toys.
So hard, and I missed out on it.
I remember going to TFCon 2016 and just sitting there and drooling over it, at one of the booths. And I was like, I can't. I can't spend $400 on this figure. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Well, finally, I think it was for Black Friday. Captured Prey did a Black Friday sale on them, and I don't know, did it with Make Toys or something like that. So that's how I ended up getting them. Was from Morrison and Captured Prey.
Yeah, I really, really wanted that figure, but I just never could break together the funds to get it.
Hey, I dropped out, guys. Which figure was it?
The
Pandanus.
Who?
Make Toys.
Make Toys Pan.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Like I said, I have the Black Zarek version of that
Devil
that
Stinger.
I got. Yeah, I got that from P.O. when he was selling it out of his collection. I got it for $200 from P.O. for Devil Stinger, and I another one I have not transformed just due to time and everything else going on. But yeah, that is just a.
I actually got to handle the production sample because Orson at Capture Prey actually got the production sample in to display at one of the local comic shops where he has a moon base, and he had the Pandanus on display in there. Or, I'm sorry, not Pandanus, but the Devil Stinger, which is the Black Zarek version of it, and it's just a flippin' awesome toy. I want that's the thing that got me wanting it so badly. And but again, it was just one of those toys where it was just a little bit more money than I wanted to spend on a current toy, even though it's giant. If I could break it down into little chunks like a combiner or something other. If the Fans Toys Terminus Giganticus had been more than it was, I wouldn't have got it. But
well, the thing that I really like about some of those city bots,
Tejo Diste.
What I really like about those city bots is they're so solid. And so, that's one thing that I don't really like about a lot of the third-party combiners is that, especially over time, they kind of wear out a little bit. And so, and I think of a third-party combiner as a $600 figure. So for me, I find there's more value in buying one of those $300 city bots than a $600 combiner. Although I would love to have the Toy World Devastator. I just could never spend the money on it.
Again, that's one of those things that I'm like little by little getting it. A lot of people's had the Toy World Constructor for what, a year, 2 years now. I'm just now 2 pieces from finishing it. I need the Long Haul and I need the Scavenger. They're both at Capture Prey, in my pile. I just need to find time to pick them up and money to pick them up with. Maybe when my taxes come in here in the next week or so, I'll just say, you know what, I'm going to splurge and finish off my Constructor. So,
yeah, I've been curious about Constructor. I love Devastator, so Constructor is going to be one of those, like whenever the weathered green version comes out, I'm going to be hard pressed not to go in on that.
He's one of I think he's arguably one of, if not the best Devastator out there. And so far out of the four bots that I have, I'm not disappointed with any of them.
Have you transformed them?
What?
How's the Toy World Devastator figures?
Now I have the Mixmaster, the Bone Crusher, the Scrapper, and the Hook. Out of all those 4, the Hook is probably the one that's the most aggravating because you literally I have to use a spudger to get his hands out. Oh, kitty cat. But for the most part, they're pretty fun. They're good looking toys. They feel quality. So I really have no complaints about any of them. He's probably going to be the last combiner I spend about $100 on each one, though.
Yep. Yeah, I don't blame you there. I've been really slowly buying more expensive figures and sometimes skipping altogether.
Yeah. Well, so. I actually went back a couple months ago, and thanks to a coupon code and some eBay bucks, went and bought Perseus, which is the white and red Shatterglass repaint of Hercules. Because I still think Hercules is a phenomenal figure, even if the engineering is dated by today's standards. And to get the whole set of 6 for about $150 for the entire set, you know, that was something I was really an offer I didn't want to turn up, because I still think Perseus is a really good set. And you've got people like Make Toys that's reissuing their Guardia set that's coming out soon. I believe they're reissuing the whole set for $339. I think for the entire set.
Yeah, you can get a lot of those older third-party combiners, the ones that were the smaller scale, for pretty cheap, like, you know, around $150.
So, Lucas, is that all your favorite third-party toys?
You know, I would say any of the MMC reformatted. I really enjoy that line. I think that recently they've been doing a much better job on some of the decos and making the characters unique. So they have a Tarn figure that is just absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to think. But yeah, any of those, that's kind of more the style that I like to go for. And then also the Make Toys Cross Dimension. So they have a Striker Manus who's their Optimus Prime. It's a really good figure as well.
Yeah, the Megatron is. I think I like the Megatron better. The Rider Megatron. He's like the space age Han Solo double barrel blaster, and I cannot wait for the Galvatron. I cannot wait for that Galvatron. I want to see colored photos of that Galvatron, because I'm not sure if they're going to go with the deeper dark purple, or if they're going to go with the more lavender. I want to see which way they're going to go on that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that we have a colored test shot at TFCon.
Yeah. You know, whenever I think about my favorite third-party toys, I look around my collection and I'm like, you know what? I love literally all of my third-party toys. I could sit here and list every single one of them, because I buy the ones that I really like, ones that really appeal to me. Harkening back to last week's episode, judging a toy before it's released. If I like the way a toy looks before it's comes out, I'll buy it. If I don't like it once I get it, I'll turn around and sell it. Or if I find that it doesn't scratch the itch that I thought it would. But there's so many great ones out there that I love. But if I had to highlight ones that really stood out to me as amazing, I would have to say first and foremost my Fans Toys Dinobots. I love dinosaurs. I love my transforming robots. They're the best of both worlds, and the Fans Toys Dinobots are like the cream of the crop. There's not a sucky one. I almost passed on Grinder, which is their Grimlock, and then I thought, well, no, if I'm going to have 4 of them, I might as well have all 5, and I do not regret that decision. He is not just an upscaled MP Grimlock. They do it their own way, yet he still has the same kind of transformation. It's just done so well.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about Grimlock, the Dinobots in general, there's not a lot of ways you could do those transformations that's way too different and them not be those characters. I think more than any other character, they kind of have to stick to those same transformation archetypes to have them, because there's probably not many characters that have to be right. Mm-hmm. Especially at that price point. Now, I've got the G2 version. I did not buy the regular Grinder because I've got Masterpiece Grimlock. And I thought if I wanted the mold, but not another repeat of Grimlock, so I got the blue G2 version. But yeah, it's I didn't even think about the Dinobots because they're always like right there on my shelf, on their own shelf with the G1 counterparts. But yeah, it's a heavy investment of money. What do you do?
So worth it. It is so worth it. If I had to pick one of the 5 Dinobots, I would have to say Stomp, which is their sludge. That thing is just so well done. So well done.
Yeah.
Again, it's another one that you have to use a spudger. You know, I've got a pack here of spudgers, but you got to use a spudger on a lot of those toys because I don't know how many fingernails I've ripped trying to get like tabs undone on some of them. But outside of the Fans Toys Dinobots, again, Terminus Giganticus, to me that is like the Omega Supreme. The sculpt can't be matched in my opinion. The heft, he's just amazing.
Did you ever have DX9 Gabrielle?
I've handled it.
Yeah.
Our own Robert Simmons, he actually brought it to a collector's meetup here in Kentucky once with him, and it's nice. It's nice, but it's not my Omega. You know, to me, the Fans Toys Terminus Giganticus fits that bill perfectly for me. I do not regret, and he just happened to come out at the right time, and I had a paycheck with a lot of overtime on it. And whenever Orson got them in at Captured Prey, I sent him a message. I said, "More Orson, money inbound." I said, "Oh, I'm so excited! I ripped my headphones off." I tossed that money to him, and I said, "Please," I said, because I was at work whenever I sent him the money. I said, "Have it waiting in my pickup whenever I get off from work." And it literally took up most of my back seat, both of those boxes.
How much extra is that service?
It was free because literally
the direct to truck service.
Where I worked at was literally a half mile from the Capture Prey warehouse. I mean, it's on the way.
I was hoping I could get that kind of service too.
I was gonna say I would be in trouble if my plastic crack dealer was that close to me.
Well, it's funny because
I've gotten into some trouble. Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because when John DeLuna on RFC used to live a couple of miles from Fun Pub headquarters, so he would always get the Fun Pub stuff literally like a day after it was mailed. And we always joked that Brian Savage was just driving by John's house and would throw it out the window, and he'd be there just because John always got always the collect, the description stuff first, and it's kind of the same thing there. It was like, "Hey Brian, thanks," and he'd just drive off, and John will get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fans Toys Phoenix, and I'm sitting here going down the line. It seems like everything's Fans Toys. But yeah,
no,
Fans
Toys.
Hey,
you didn't do it right. You didn't do it right.
No.
Fans Toys.
No.
Sorry, Bobby. Had to, Bobby. Sorry.
But Fans Toys Phoenix, to me, that is like the definitive Skyfire. And the pictures that I've seen of the Hasbro Commander class Jetfire that they're doing, it almost looks like they tried to copy the Phoenix. I don't know if they did, but it's just...
Well, yeah, but they're both very G1 accurate, so like that's the cartoon model.
Yeah. But I mean, it looks amazing. If I had to pick non-Fans Toys, something non-Fans Toys, wow, I'm just looking around my collection right now. Well, obviously my Zeta Toys Armageddon, which is the Bruticus, that thing's pretty flippin' amazing. And then I'd have to say, and a lot of people's going to say, KFC? Really? But yes, my KFC horror cons, Eight Face and Snapdragon, they're King Gorilla and King Zilla. I absolutely love them, especially the Snapdragon. So well done. I mean, I know a lot of people knock the Snapdragon for it not looking exactly right, but I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and let's be honest, I don't see the horror cons being on Hasbro or Takara's short list. It's like Savant. Well, I picked up Savant, which is the Masterpiece Skids. The face is a little mushy. I'll admit the face is not perfect, but it's a good-looking Skids overall, and I don't see a Skids war coming up anytime soon between all of the third-party people. They're too busy redoing Predakings and Devastators.
Just because I have them handy, and yes, I'll point something out, but this is the King Gorilla, and yes, he is missing a chest flap because I am ham-handed, and one of the screws came out, and I lost the chest flap. But not a big deal. He's still a flipping awesome toy. And look at the heft on this thing, and he just looks amazing. Yeah. And then let me get him up here without tipping everybody else over. And then the Snapdragon, the King Zilla.
Yeah, I'd always thought Snapdragon had a better use of his mass in both modes, and he wasn't quite so many just parts they didn't know what to do with, like for Ape Face.
And well, that and this one here is not a headache to transform at all. He is pretty straightforward. I don't have any issues. I can go 6 months to a year and not transform this toy, pick him up and convert him to all three modes, no issues. Ape Face, the other day, whenever I put him in Gorilla mode, I literally had to pull up one of Bobby Skullface's videos. I think it's Bobby Skullface's videos that I had to watch to get him into 8 mode because I couldn't figure it out. But his transformation might be a little bit headache, but he's still pretty amazing to me. Oh, hi, Carrie. We actually mentioned you earlier, so you might want to go back and watch that. And then I'm going to say 2 more. Well, actually, it's 3, but I've got my Make Toys Headmasters. I got the Cupola and what's her hardhead? I can't remember what his name was.
I can't remember.
But the hardhead and chrome dome, I love those. The size is great. They feel good in hand. And then I'm going to give a shout out to Fans Hobby, Power Baser, their Power Master Optimus Prime. Headache again. To me, it's a headache to put in combined mode, but he is chunky. He is sturdy feeling. I feel like I could use him as a weapon and not damage him. You know, his presence is just amazing. I hope that they come out with a Fire Guts version of him and Dodge and Rye that they're doing.
I was gonna say their G2 Laser Prime as well is really good. And then they had was a Scourge too that they did a repaint.
The Scourge actually came out first.
Yeah.
Arch Enemy and Gunfighter.
Yeah. No, they're definitely one of the big names on the scene now. And I know they just came out with an Overlord as well that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I wanted that Overlord, but I thought I don't have a Power Baser for him to really go with, and I've got G1 Overlord. And Maskey, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm sorry. Apparently he wants food because he was trying to get in the cabinet.
But
I was going to mention, I know Baked.
Oh, good. He's wearing shorts tonight. Good.
Yeah. Remember that episode he got up and he had no pants on?
Yeah, that was a classic.
What?
That episode you got up and you had no pants on.
Oh, that was me.
It's just John.
Don Arms with hand.
You've ruined the show for everybody. Are you happy now? Don't look at your bowl like you don't know what that is.
You should pick him up. Pick him up. See what he does.
I want to keep my arms attached.
You don't want to be disarmed.
No.
I picked mine up.
Yeah, well, yours doesn't attack you for no reason.
No, mine's dead.
Anyway, go ahead, guys. I forgot what I was saying.
I was gonna mention Make Toys has made quite a few good masterpiece figures, like their Downbeat, their Jazz is a really is a really cool. It's one of the figures that really reminds me of a masterpiece, like the transformation reminds me of a masterpiece car. And then I'm trying to think what other ones they've done too. Gun Dog's really good too.
Gun Dog is just. I think if Downbeat had used silver on those leg flaps versus that flat gray, it would have been a slightly better looking figure. Gun Dog to me is perfect. I can see nothing nothing Masterpiece Hound can do to make me want to get it.
I think that Gun Dog is actually one of those few toys that actually crushes Fans Toys Willis.
Oh, God.
Fans Toys Willis was the first Fans Toys toy that I got a hold of that I was not impressed by it at all. That was another one of the production samples that I got to handle, and it made my decision. Whenever I handed it back into Orson after photographing, I'm like, I'm not pre-ordering this guy. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it.
Yeah.
But
the Make Toys Seekers are really good too.
I've not actually got to handle one of those in person.
They look really nice. It's a very premium looking figure. Like they look a lot better than the Masterpiece, in my opinion.
How's the transformation? Is it a little more fluid?
No, it's actually a little more complicated than the Masterpiece. But I mean, it's not horrible.
Rick is asking Dawn, what's on the other side of your camera?
My kitchen. My kitchen.
No, the other side of the camera, like behind your computer.
Oh,
that's the cave.
No, that's where Massey lays in the window under the. I've got dark blackout curtains, kind of. Mainly to keep
like I got in here.
Yeah, well, see, I live on a second floor apartment, and it gets kind of hot with all the heat rising in the summer. So I just keep blackout curtains, and he'll crawl up and lay in the windowsill on the back of the desk, but under the curtain to look out at the highway and stuff.
You could open. Sorry, you could open the window.
Why would you do such a thing?
He attacks. You have to get payback.
Some poor pedestrian on the street below would be walking along, and all of a sudden here, you see it on the CBS Evening News, Massey attack reported in North Carolina.
Well, I'm gonna toss out another favorite third party, and that's probably going to be. I completely forgot. I didn't. What was it? I completely forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was. It's on tip of my head now.
Are we grabbing?
It's called fatigue, Dawn.
Yeah, everybody grab your Optimus.
Yeah. Well, now I do. Well, now this is,
boom, boom, aka boom, boom. Everybody grab.
Does it have to be a full figure, or can it be like upgrades?
It looks like Retgar's axe there.
It is, and it's the made in Japan stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I really like those upgrades. There's another upgrade from Lucky Rogers for for the Junkyons, it's really good too. So, to your Junkion fan, I mean, that's a good third-party kind of add-on.
You know, I think most of us are going to agree that there's a lot more good third-party stuff.
I could literally sit here and list.
I mean, it's just because every time y'all say something, it's like, oh yeah, I could have mentioned that, or I mean, this whole thing it's gone from Defender into this complete. You can't even call it a cottage industry anymore. It's a full-blown. Well, you know, go to Capture and Prey, go to BBTS, go to your favorite store, and look at the amount of third-party stuff being offered, just in terms of numbers. Even after losing Impossible Toys, after losing
they lost there.
I wouldn't really say we lost.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, they were early players, and I'll admit the toys weren't great, but their Tetrajets, that was the closest to actually getting Tetrajets that looked like more than meets the eye jets that we've ever gotten.
In alt mode.
In alt mode, yeah. But look at all the third party. I mean, you can't see it, but I'm pointing all of my shelves on that wall. 90% of them is all third party, and it started with Defender City Commander, and then Defender came out, and it's just amazing. What in 5 years, 6 years, maybe?
I would say roughly 10. I'd say 05, whenever, wasn't that whenever?
2008 was the City Commander, right?
Oh, was it?
I think so. Don't quote me. But.
Well, now, probably the start, we've talked about this before, I know. The start of the third-party boom, I think most people will agree, will be Unicron.com and the accessories they were doing, like the stand for Armada Unicron and things like that. I think that's where we started seeing an actual legit third party coming into being.
Yeah, whenever I had my Armada Unicron, I wanted that stand from Unicron.com so bad, and I just never got around to getting it. Now I don't even have a Unicron to put on it, but you know, at the time I really wished I had, because he was one of those toys that I actually wanted to display in Planet mode. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, you know, if Diecast has his way, you know, the next HasLab will be Unicron. So, you know, and you can get the green Minicon Unicron,
but I want a proper color.
Oops.
That's right.
You'll poke your eye, kid.
Beat yourself in the face with that thing.
You'll poke yourself in the eye, kid.
Wow. Yeah, Unicron attacks.
Hey, that's Megatron attack.
Yeah, he has a big sticker across his chest. Unicron attacks. No crap, you're Unicron. That's what you do. It's your shtick.
I am Optimus Prime.
The thing that amazes me, though, about third parties now is, like, I don't really feel like we're getting any bad figures lately. Like, I feel like in the last couple of years that they've really stepped up, and I don't know. I mean, can you guys think of a bad figure? Like, I mean, I think there's a few that you're like, yeah, it's not that great. But, like, as far as a truly, you know, bad figure, toy. I think that KFC Blitzwing is probably the last one that I can think of.
The TFC roller, Battle Roller, the TFC thing. Yeah, let's burn that thing.
Yeah,
but I heard that was good. Is that bad?
It's horrible.
Yeah,
that thing is horrible.
I don't know about you guys, but to me, I think the downside of third party is not what we're getting, but how many of the same thing we're getting. The repetition is really. I'm waiting for some third party to have the chutzpah to start giving us Generation 2 UK stuff.
What's chutzpah?
You're too young. Anyway.
But Don, here's the problem though: is that stuff doesn't sell. If you look at them doing that stuff, that's the stuff that goes on clearance. If you look at it, a lot of the stuff, like I really love the IDW looking stuff. All that stuff is went on clearance too, and they sell all the G1 main characters sell like hotcakes, and they just keep re-releasing Optimus Primes and Starscreams and Megatrons, and they sell.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Okay, I'm pulling down my glasses. I'm getting serious here. My glasses are coming down. This is their version of Thunderclash, which is basically, it's an IDW from that, Tarn base mold and so forth, okay? But I'm talking about a legitimate, good-looking Thunderclash. Turbo Masters, Pyro, Clinch, Light Formers, Tracons, the entire UK late G1, 1.5, and G2 catalogs have barely been touched. How do we know that they won't sell? Because no one has really made someone needs to be like Make Toys with their cross-dimension stuff. With that anime aesthetic they're doing, like we've talked about, Striker Manus, and everyone else in that line. Someone needs to step up and at least try to give us a G1 or G2 Thunderclash, and then see how it does. Because one, those original toys have the brown GPS issues, and they're very expensive. At least that way you would get these molds of some fashion and these characters into people's collections that at a price they can afford. We don't know. They're not going to sell.
MMC made a Thunderclash, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not that one, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's that mold. I mean, I realize it's not, like the toy, or the original toy, but...
But, I mean, at least it would be something new and different, and not, I mean, we're getting another Make Toys is doing another Predaking. We don't need any more Predakings. We don't need any more Devastators. Well, we need Battle Gaia, but that's beside the point. We don't need any more, It's just...
We don't need any more.
They're just trying to stick with characters they know will sell, because with if you delve into really, really obscure characters, you run the risk of it selling very poorly, and they've lost a lot of money in the design and the production of that toy. I mean, a lot of these companies are going out on limbs making these headmasters and stuff because, a lot of the late G1 stuff is just not as widely known. Now, fortunately for us, a lot of them are selling. But will I ever get my third-party updated Masterpiece style Duocons? Probably not, I'm guessing. But we've seen them start to delve into Beast Wars. But will we start seeing upgraded other eras too?
Yeah,
I will say that is one thing that Fans Hobby that I do commend them for. Actually, they went after the Monster Bots, some G2 guys, and they just teased Headmaster Juniors.
Yes.
As well. So so I will say there are some companies that are doing that, but yeah, I think that once we get through these combiners again, I think that you probably will see more of them starting to kind of go towards that, or I guess maybe they'll just start over again and give us the same G1 characters. Who knows?
Dawn Nightwing is wanting me to tell you that those of us late to the game need those combiners because we don't want to sell our nuts to get them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that is fine. It's just for those of us that have been here a bit longer since the third party creation and the ongoing character reveals. It's just the fatigue. It's sort of like Combiner Wars, literally all over again. The fatigue is kind of setting in on these same characters. But if you're late to the game and you need these as the pieces that we needed back then, I'm glad you're getting them. It's just, I want to see a Raiden. Please, someone, give me a third party writing.
But I think it's interesting too. Is you're like, oh, I'm never going. MP10 is the perfect figure. I'm never going to need a new Optimus Prime. And then Duran has, the Magic Square. And then who knows? Maybe when MP44 comes out, you're like, well, okay, that looks really good too. And that's where I feel like some of these characters that they are redoing, I don't think it's good if they all come out at the same time, but I think a lot of times, like those Zeta Combiners, they look fantastic. And, some of those figures, even like the Make Toys Seekers, where you're like, well, I don't need another Seeker. And then you see it, and you're like, oh, wow, that does look a lot better. So I think that, as much as we keep saying, oh, we don't want to upgrade, we end up doing it. So,
yeah. I'd rather be fatigued than have to have Hercules as my Devastator. So.
I was perfectly happy with Hercules. I loved Hercules when I had it. But they're the better ones. There was better ones that came along. But eventually you get tired of replacing. And as a collector, that right there is what is literally driving me out of the hobby. Because I want to get to a point where I feel like I have the best version of a toy or of a character, and I don't want to have to keep replacing it.
Oh, that's never going to happen. I mean, as the years go on,
and I know that, and that's why I want to get to a point, and I've said it before on the show. I want to get to a point where I actually stop buying more toys and just be a fan. I still have the toys that I have, and just stop buying the toys.
Just enjoy what you have.
Well, during my best friend Fred, he loves Transformers. He's big into Ultraman and Godzilla and other stuff like that. But he loves Transformers. He's not on any boards. He doesn't watch any podcasts.
Shame.
He doesn't watch reviews. No, he doesn't watch anybody. He's a fan, but he's not part of the fandom. He's perfectly happy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of like what you're wanting to do is when you can enjoy, and you're not like, okay, that's better than this, so I need to sell. It gets tiring after a while. I think that's why I did not buy Sunstreaker. I have Sunsurge. Sunsurge, for what I paid for it, is a fine Sunstreaker for my collection. I did get Corden, so I could have the mold, but I didn't double dip on a character that's. Sunstreaker is not important enough as a character to me to get the best version. That's why I haven't bought a third-party Trailbreaker. None of the Trailbreakers have been Trailbreaker to me. Now I did get the Hoist, the Paeon.
Yeah.
I think it was Unique Toys. I can't remember. I got their Hoist because Hoist isn't quite as important, but that's also a very good figure. But the Trailbreaker, I'm waiting for another good Trailbreaker, and then that'll be hopefully my Trailbreaker. If they come out with Jazz, am I going to replace Downbeat? No, I'm not going to replace Gundog because the
only way I'll replace Downbeat is if an official Jazz comes out, and I think it's better.
I just can't see Jazz. I can't see Jazz or Hound doing anything better that would make me want to drop the money on another toy when I have a perfectly fine representation. I've got Ocular Max's Mirage. I can't remember the name, but I've got their Mirage.
I actually was not impressed with that toy.
Yeah, I don't see me getting another Mirage. But again, everyone has different tastes. It's like our likes and stuff that we talked about tonight. The ones I like, y'all may not like, but we all like Dinobots, so there's that. But it's just
Well, and I think this may be a topic for another night, but us being in the fandom and following this and all that, is that what's fueling getting the new thing? Because, I mean, again, if you weren't keeping up with it all the time, you'd probably be happy with your older Masterpiece figures. You're like, oh, yeah, this Starscream's great. But then, you're following it and you see the new one, you're like, oh, well, that looks better. Or this Optimus looks better, or you get other people online that are saying, like, you Dron, that you get your new Optimus from Magic Square, and you're like, oh, this is one of the best figures that I've held, and then I'm like, oh gosh, like now I need to get this too because it's such a great figure.
I mean, they're in a lot of ways. This design, this look, is just so much better than MP10. I love the animation look of it. But does that mean I dislike MP10? MP10 is pretty damn good.
Yep.
But this thing here is, it can pull off poses that MP10 can't. Bottom line.
Right.
Just what he's doing with his rifle right there without breaking the sculpt. MP10 can't do that. I like that. That's what's selling me on these things. Individually articulated fingers. I doubt MP44 will even have that. I'd say it'll probably have like a articulated finger, maybe a thumb, but will all 5 be? Not likely, because that's not Hasbro, or that's not Takara's thing. I don't. Outside of like Titan class figures, I don't see them doing a whole lot of individually articulated fingers, and I think that's something that I didn't realize I wanted until it actually came to be. And I know it's not, again, like we stated and Don stated earlier, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But for me, I like articulated fingers because, you can just, how much do we emote with our fingers? And you can pose, with like Optimus Prime and that commanding point, or like Perceptor, holding up his hand, like, actually, you get that emotion from just using a finger gesture, and like the video from Diecast showing there with Phoenix standing in the background flipping off Kronos as he burns in the fire. It's like
burn in the fires of Inferno.
Burn, Maximus, burn in the fires of Inferno. But yeah, everybody's got their own preferences and everything. Well, I think we've went long enough and had some good discussion here on our favorite third-party toys and our favorite YouTube reviewers. What's yours? We'd love to hear from you on our Twitter account at TFYLP, or you can go to our Facebook page or a Facebook group at facebook.com/group/TFYLP. We're always on there. And check out our Facebook page, tftalk.net's Facebook page, where if you're watching us on Facebook, that's where this is originating from. Like that page and make sure you get notifications from that page whenever we post and go live. Lots of great stuff on there. And as always, if you love what we do here on TFYLP, go up to our link up there at the top of the screen at patreon.com/TFYLP. Without you, the listeners and the viewers of this show, we could not and would not exist right now. The quality of this show so far, or what you're seeing right now, is a result of great fans like the ones that support us already on Patreon. And the more you support us, the better we can get and the farther we can go. So go to patreon.com/TFYLP, and even if it's just $1 a month, $5 a month, every little bit helps. And as a reward, a monthly reward for being a Patreon subscriber, I'll get it out here in a moment. You also get access to TFYLP After Hours, which is a Patreon exclusive show just for our Patreon subscribers. We've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 episodes up there already. I'm aiming for at least 2 episodes a month. If we get 3 or 4, it's great. But I'm aiming for at least 2 episodes a month. Simply because we actually do that either after the podcast is off the air, like tonight, or we pre-record it later in the week whenever we can. But there's some great shows that's up there already. Rick Alvarez is keeping us up to date on the progress of his man cave downstairs. 2,200 square feet of awesomeness. So check that out. And we just sit around and talk Transformers and sometimes not Transformers, just whatever comes to our mind. And I'll toss it over to Lucas one more time to plug our other show.
Yeah, so watch the Microcasters Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, where we do live toy reviews. And then this week we are doing a special interview with Spencer Wilson from Mott's Toys. That will be tomorrow night, Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern on the TF Talk Facebook page.
That's TFYLP Microcasters. Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on our Facebook page. And as always, if you check out our sponsors, CapturePrey.com, great toys, great prices, great service for all your third-party and official Transformers needs. Or you can go to Ripped Apparel and use the promo code TFYLPPOD. All capital letters and all one word, TFYLP pod, and you can save 10% on your orders at Ripped Apparel. That is, unless there's a better promotion going on, like there is sometimes. And if not, then well, go get that one. You guys have any closing thoughts, real quick, Don?
Just collect what you like. Don't let nobody tell you it's wrong, and just remember there'll always be something better down the road. It'll be an improved character, or a better version, or a repaint that's like cartoon versus toy, and when it was toy, then cartoon, or whatever the case may be. Just use your best judgment, and if something comes out and you got to replace it, that's up to you. But if you want to do it, more power to you.
Absolutely. Sean?
Nothing. We said it all. Yeah.
And Lucas?
I was just going to say, I am a big chug collector, and so I'm really excited for what's, continuing to come from Mastermind Creations and Make Toys and those kind of guys, that they're really kind of pushing the boundaries of, not just doing the straight G1. So I think for me, I don't see myself stopping, because I think that they're always going to do that kind of stuff. So.
I'm replying to Nightwing there. Yeah, if you don't have Facebook, or don't like Facebook and can't catch Microcasters live, frowny face here, you can still download older episodes. I usually upload them a day or two later, and it's the entire video podcast now. You can actually watch the video off of iTunes if you have an iDevice. Or you can go to our website at tftalk.net or tfylp.com and click on TFYLP Microcasters. You can watch them directly on the website or download them and watch them there. So there's other ways other than Facebook to enjoy it, but the only way to get it live is Facebook. So without further ado, we will. I think I will play more of Diecast's video here of Kronos burning, and we'll just mute our mics and close out with that, and we'll see you next time on TFYLP. Good night, everybody.
Night all.
Good night.
口心を打ち明ければみんな友達ここに生きる残る地上の時間は限られたわずかだから救えば平和探し求めてるものは一体どれ変えて変えられるものはちっぽけ築き上げたもの壊すやつ守るやつ腹が立つ誰が勝つ